the piano recital at Mrs. Maybe's house on Prospect Street in Lee. As usual, my mother did not want to attend the piano recital, but Sarah and I were obliged as we were both students, not advancing very quickly from Lila Fletcher. We both had simple pieces to perform, and the more shame was on me because, of course, I had been taking piano lessons for so much longer than Sarah. But neither of us liked to perform in public. During the lessons leading up to the recital, Mrs. Maybe had been uh, certain to warn me that if I played my piece too fast, she would have me play it again. And so I rehearsed my piece, and I do like to play fast. I think fast was really my only skill on the piano. I didn't really understand anything else about it, but I did memorize the piece. And on the day of the performance, wearing our best clothes, Sarah and I sat on the staircase waiting our turn to be called to perform. Sarah was younger, performed first and very well. Then it was my turn. And, of course, I performed the piece fast. I never thought for an instant that Mrs. Maybe was serious. But when I took my bow, she told me I had to play it again, but slower. I think my jaw must have dropped, as if to say, "Are you kidding me?" And yet it seemed that was what she had in mind. For I turned around, sat back at the piano, and played the piece through. When I stopped, before I turned back to the piano, I looked at my sister's face, and as usual, it had the same look that I could always rely on from Sarah. Her, her sad eyes, about to tear in sympathy with what I was going through. She couldn't believe it. And then she's like, "Oh, a little, oh, get this over with, Joan," which I did. I go back, sit down next to Sarah on the stairs, and I said, "Did you see that my hands were shaking?" And she looked at me with a little, "Yeah, you could tell." It must have just been so uncomfortable for everyone who had to witness it. But the evening wasn't over yet. It was time for the reception, where Mrs. Maybe had a dining table laden with sweets and small sandwiches and croissants. And there were drinks poured out in wax paper cups that were quite delicious looking. I think it was apple cider. Yes, it was. Well, Sarah and I were too shy to start, and everybody else just seemed to go up to the table with no permission granted, and we couldn't be sure. Should we go? Should we get the food? We certainly wanted it. We were looking at it with our mouths were drooling, and for some reason we were frozen. I think I was frozen because I had been so humiliated. And Sarah, well, Sarah couldn't ever initiate anything. She always relied on me. So we spent the entire evening dreaming of all that food we probably just could have helped ourselves to, and the refreshing apple cider, which is probably what we wanted the most. But my mother comes, picks us up, drives us home, and asks us, "How was the recital?" Oh, it was lovely. Sarah and I both agree, both heartbroken and hungry.